Now, President Donald Trump has called Canada a very nasty negotiator and reiterated his claim that the country should become the 51st U.S. state. During a conversation with reporters in the Oval Office, Trump said that it cost the U.S. $200 billion a year in subsidy to keep Canada afloat. So when he says it should be a state, he really means it.
And remember, with Canada, we don't need their cars, we don't need their lumber, we don't need their energy, we don't need anything from Canada, and yet it costs us $200 billion a year in subsidy to keep Canada afloat. So when I say they should be a state, I mean that. I really mean that, because we can't be expected to carry a country that is right next to us on our border. It would be a great state. It would be a cherished state.
When asked if he had any worries that if Canada became a U.S. state, it would be a very blue state, Trump brushed off the concern. He said it's the most beautiful landmass anywhere in the world and was just cut off for whatever reason. Trump also said that the Canadians have been very tough traders, adding that they took advantage of the United States for a long time and were getting 270% tariffs on dairy products.
But Canada has been a very nasty negotiator against the United States, took advantage of the United States for a long time, but nobody knows that they were getting 270% tariffs on dairy products.
Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has said that Trump will ultimately respect Canada's sovereignty and be ready for comprehensive trade talks, because Americans are going to suffer from Trump's trade war. Carney also said talks with Trump will only happen until Canada gets the respect it deserves as a sovereign nation. The Canadian Prime Minister met with the country's premiers ahead of an expected call for election on Sunday. Carney is expected to trigger the process for an early parliamentary election this weekend for an expected vote on the 28th of April. The election will take place against the backdrop of a trade war and sovereignty threats from the U.S. President Donald Trump.
Is going to determine who's best. One of the factors is going to be, in my judgment, who is going to be best for Canada in the negotiations with the Americans, which will come, but they're, from my perspective, they're not going to come until we get the respect we deserve as a sovereign nation. By the way, this is not a high bar.
The governing Liberals had appeared poised for a historic election defeat until Trump declared a trade war. The repeated attacks on Canada's sovereignty have infuriated Canadians, and the surge in Canadian nationalism has bolstered Liberal poll numbers. The opposition Conservatives hope to make the election about former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's popularity declined as food and housing prices rose and immigration surged. But after decades of bilateral stability, the vote is now expected to focus on who is best equipped to deal with the United States. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.